Oh, yeah. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? I want to dedicate this one to the season because it went by so fast, man. I'm like, where'd it go? We got to see Brad Holmes in front of the media. Yeah. Everybody, make some noise in the comment section. We get to see Brad Holmes in front of the media on Thursday. Look. He says, some days I feel like spit. Some days I want to quit and just be normal for a bit. I don't understand why you have to always be gone. I get along, but the trips always feel so long. I find myself trying to stay by the phone, but the season always makes me not feel alone. Yo, that you have something to say, and I'll tell you, I want you to know it's a little jacked up that I'm stuck here waiting, at times debating, telling you that I've had it with you in your career, waiting for the season to get here. Like, where'd it go? Yo, I miss it so. Seems like it's been forever. We only got 8 months to go. Everybody make some noise like, where'd it go? I miss it so. Seems like it's been forever. Everybody, listen, check this out. I'm like, come back home. You know, the place where you used to live. Used to barbecue with burgers and ribs. Used to have a little party every Halloween with candy by the pile. But now you only stop by every once in a while. Yeah, I find myself just filling my time with anything to keep the thought of you from my mind. I'm doing fine, and I'm planning to keep it that way. You can call me if you find that you have something to say. And I'll tell you, I want you to know it's a little jacked up that I'm stuck here waiting. Only 8 months debating, telling you that I've had it with you and your career, waiting for the season to get here. Like, where'd it go? Everybody, the season went by like that. Only 8 months more to go. Everybody make some noise. Derek, Fort Minor, Mike Shinoda, Lincoln Park. Check this out, listen. Yo, I want you to know it's a little jacked up that I'm stuck here waiting. No longer debating, tired of waiting and making those excuses for why you're not around and feeling so useless. Yo, check this out. I'm like, where'd it go? I miss it so. We only got 8 more months to go. Where'd it go? Man, the season went by so fast, bro. And we was never really in this thing. Please come back home. Mike Shinoda. Please come back home. Yeah, Lincoln Park. Please come back home. Fort Minor. Please come back home. Yeah, Lion Syndicate. Please come back home. Hey, shout out to Fort Minor, Mike Shinoda, 2006, man. That was my favorite song. Almost 20 years. As a matter of fact, 20 years ago, man. Where did the season go, ladies and gentlemen, man? Just like that, it was over. And we are back to the off season. All right, what's up, everybody? You know how we do it, man. That's what makes me the best in the business, because I'm super duper entertaining. What up, everybody? Welcome to Spike Kool-Aid for the first show of the off season, man. Oh, I can't believe it, bro. I can't believe that we are here, man. We got Dan Campbell. He addressed the media today. Brad Holmes is in front of the media on Thursday. And I am hype about it. I cannot wait. I'm giddy. I'm excited. I am feeling some type of way. But we got a lot to talk about, man. The offseason is officially here for the Detroit Lions. And I've been watching a lot of videos, man, and I've been seeing a lot of people starting to critique, and they're wondering where the Lions went wrong. But, you know, the crazy part is, man, we already knew. We already knew where the Lions went wrong. We knew that they were going to – what we were doing is we were trying to kid ourselves. And I want – you know, I think I was watching some show. I think it was I forgot what it was. And something happened, and the character was like, what did you learn? And that's what I want to ask Lions fans today. What did you learn from this season? What did you learn from not just the Detroit Lions season, but everyone's season? What did you learn? Okay, and I mean everybody in the NFL. But before we do that, let me shout out everybody in the chat. Shout out to the Pistons. Bud Tribe says been waiting on Spike Kool-Aid all day. Win in the building. Yes. We got Dan's press conference pulled up. What up? What up? Did you look at the schedule? Yes, I did. What up? What up, Don? What up? What up? Cancun. What up, though, Cancun? Shep Basic said we good over here. Defense, y'all don't expect anything drastic. Well, listen. Everybody got fired today. I mean, look, Arthur Blank. He didn't waste no time, bro. Raheem Morris fired. 5 minutes later, the general manager got fired. Kevin Stefanski fired. Okay. I mean, everybody got fired today. Like, and it's barely Black Monday. And I think there are 4 open positions already. Now, right now, no. So how many people got? Okay. Pete Carroll got fired today. Kevin Stefanski got fired today. The Giants already fired their guy, and the Falcons fired their guy yesterday. So what is that, 4? Is that 4 open positions? Let me see. Yeah, so look. So Where'd You Go is like one of my favorite songs of like all time. And Mike Shinoda, he is the rap person in Linkin Park, and he has always been uber talented, bro. Lions won't fire anyone. Probably not. Yes, Kevin Stefanski got fired today. What up, Josh? What's going on? Time to get Pistons tickets, says Lori. Absolutely. We ain't good, but we still good. Absolutely. So, Brad Holmes, we got Dan Campbell's press conference pulled up. And, I mean, the Lions team is going to look so different. It's going to be sad. It really is. Taylor Decker, he is gone. His press conference yesterday was emotional. It was gut-wrenching. I felt really bad for him. You could tell he's not coming back. Frank Ragnow is done. So now, Brad Holmes is in a very sticky situation, man. And let's get right into it. I don't have any tissue. For some reason, it's cold in my basement today. They talking today about Bowles possibly getting fired. You know what? He probably should. I mean, sometimes you just need to shake it up. All right, let's talk about it. So Brad Holmes is getting a lot of heat, man. Dan Campbell is kind of on that fire too, but Brad Holmes is getting a lot of heat. And I thought about how fortunate he really is. And you think about this duo of coach and general manager. They are fortunate. And what I mean by fortunate is they're fortunate that they made a lot of progress in 2023. Otherwise, they would be probably trending without a job. I mean, let's be real. The NFL stands for not for long. Raheem Morris got 2 years. The Falcons have gone through 2 coaches in about 3 to 4 years, and they're looking for their third now. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have survived. Just a couple years ago, Kevin Stefanski, coach of the year, fired. That was the first go-round with Joe Flacco, fired. Brian Dable, fired. Coach of the year. Dan Campbell, the NFL stands for not for long. And I'm thinking about how tough everybody is saying in the comment section that I'm watching 97 won the ticket. I'm watching these different YouTube channels. And now everybody is talking about Brad Holmes and how the Lions, you have not heard me say in a few weeks anything about us getting a pass rusher, because I realize that we are more than a pass rusher away. Now, for me, all my blame goes on Brad Holmes. That's it. Point blank, period. Dan Campbell makes bad decisions. Jared Goff makes bad decisions. All of my blame goes to solely one person, because that guy was the guy putting this team together. And we get to hear from him on Thursday. But why are the Detroit Lions are in a very, very sticky situation? Taylor Decker, in his press conference yesterday, he spoke like a man that was done. If Taylor Decker does not retire this year, next year is his last year. It's also his last year under contract. Now, if he does retire, it's like more of a gift than a curse, because Taylor Decker is not what he used to be. He also will save us some cap space. He will create some with him. I think he's in the top 5 highest paid people on the team, or maybe up top 10 before all the extensions happen. And from his press conference yesterday, he was talking about the things he has to do to get ready for a game, the pain his body goes through, and what he has to do simply to play. He wants to see his kids. He wants to play with his kids. If he wants to have more kids, he wants to be able to play with them. He said he can't even throw a football with his child. And so I was like, he's done. So that means that the Lions are in a more sticky situation. Now, what are they going to do? And for all, it's kind of funny because we give Brad Holmes a lot of praise. And this man that I think we don't talk about him because of what he eventually did, and that's Bob Quinn. Bob Quinn, he started the staples of this offensive line, and I'm very curious to know if Brad is really that dude or is he just fooling himself? Because Bob Quinn set up this offensive line. He had our left tackle, and Matthew Stafford was right-handed. You had our left tackle with the first-round pick. You had our center with the first-round pick. Brad Holmes adds to that with the right tackle with the first-round pick. So now what are you going to do? Are you going to move Panay from right to left and then draft a right, go get a right in free agency? Now we need a center. We need a left tackle or right tackle. We're going to need some guards. This offensive line is in shambles. And I'm very curious to know what Brad is going to do. As far as the defensive line is concerned, now my hopes and dreams are dashed. The only way that, we have so many holes to fill, it's going to be a miracle if Brad can do it. If Brad can do it. A lot of you guys are giddy about the fourth place schedule, which I think is just quite sad in my opinion. But let's say that we thrive off that fourth place schedule. Then what happens? Let's say we win the division, because now the Bears will have a first place schedule. So we win the division, and then what? Do we scrape by in the playoffs? Do we make it to the NFC Championship game? So I think Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are very fortunate. I think because we've seen coaches get run through. There's been, I would love to know how many coaches have been fired since Brad and Dan have been hired. How many coaches have been fired since they've been hired? So they owned and earned their extension. But now it's time to earn another one. And they both have 2 years on their deal. And a lot of people, and so I'm wondering, how much impact can they make this year? You gave up a third-round pick for Tesla. You know who I thought about is in a prime condition to rebuild and rebuild the right way if they get the right people? The Las Vegas Raiders. They have 10 draft picks. If I'm the Las Vegas Raiders, I trade Max Crosby for 2 more. And those would be first-round picks. I'm not saying the Lions should get them. But we had our opportunity, and we're letting it slip away. And to be honest with you, I don't know if we still are in that window. I don't. Lions have way too much stuff to do. We're no longer one player away. We're no longer an edge rusher away. By the way, we still need an edge rusher. Not only do we need an edge rusher, we only have 5 people under contract on the defensive line. And I'm going to tell you what, I swear, man, if Marcus Davenport is back on this roster, I may have to consider my life choices. Real talk. If he winds up, if Marcus Davenport, you know what, even better, if Marcus Davenport is re-signed to the Detroit Lions roster, I want Brad Holmes fired on the spot. I'm not even lying. If he signs Marcus Davenport, I want him fired. That day, soon as Marcus comes in the building, Brad Holmes is exiting. Real talk. So now it's wondering, can we build? What can Brad really do? Because think about it. The bookends, you had the left tackle, which is the blind side. You had the center, both drafted by the previous regime. Now, Taylor Decker was drafted by Jim Caldwell and Bob Quinn. Frank Ragnow was drafted by Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn. And let's not get it twisted at all either. The last general manager, okay? And this is like, when you start thinking about this stuff, it really does kind of hit home. If I'm not mistaken, the last general manager lasted 5 years. It was 2 or 3 with Jim Caldwell, and then 3 with Matt Patricia. And then he was fired as along with the guy that he hired. But he put together the majority of the core of the offensive line. Now we have to see what Brad can do. And it's very curious. Are you going to get Tyler Lindenbaum? Are you going to draft a center? Because if you draft a center, where are you going to take him at? It has to be the first or second round because we don't have a third-round pick. We have a ton of work to do this offseason. Only 36 people under contract for next year. Brad Holmes got a lot of work to do, and I don't know if he can do it. I'm going to be real with you. I don't know if he can do it. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think, like, everyone's saying what I've been saying, like, literally, if you go check the tape, I said that this year was going to be a crucial year for Brad and Dan. And now that it's played out, we see that they failed this team. So now, right at the halfway point between year 4 and 5, you had a chance to make this team statistically better, and you didn't do that. So now you only have 2 years left. This year was a wash. It really was. It was a wash. Now you have 2 years to get it together. And I saw an image. Shout out to the people on Twitter, man. I saw an image of Sheila was in the locker room. I'm going to see if I can find this screenshot, man. Sheila was in the locker room, and she didn't look happy. She didn't look happy. Brad, we finally got a glimpse of Brad, and I don't know, man. I don't know. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think that the Lions still have time under this regime to fix this? I don't know if they do. I don't know if they do, because they are up against it now. I couldn't imagine being somewhere where you know that you have a shelf life. Like you go to work and you expect to work there until you retire. I couldn't imagine going to work and you're like, okay, you are part of this team for 7 years. And then after that, you might have to find another line of work or another job, right? Couldn't imagine, but something has to be done. I don't know if the Lions have time to do it under this regime. They have to have, think about this. They have to have a flawless offseason. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, who is Robin, bro? Robin says, I would prefer you just find a new team. You are crying. Robin, who are you talking to, bro? Robin, who are you talking to, man? Let's give Robin his 15 seconds. And see, if I'll let it respond. Robin, I'm waiting on you. Stream says each year you have to be better or you lose your job. It's pretty crazy. There aren't centers projected to in our spot in the first round. They're second and third rounders, which we don't have, by the way. All right, so Run, what would you prefer? YouTube West says Brad penny pinched us out of the playoffs. That is a fact. Appreciate you, Josh. I don't understand when people, if people are talking to me, when I address them, why do they stop talking? Here's what I need y'all to do, okay? We all get emotional. This thing is full of emotion, okay? So if you do like I do, take a few days away. Take a few days away before you say something you can't take back. Because I am not in the mood for anything this offseason. You know what I'm saying? I let this team take way too much of my time and my energy. And I'm glad what happened to me last year didn't happen. I was thinking about it. I said, yo, Derek, the heartbreak that you felt, you were in, Levi Stadium. And that was a tough, the Levi Stadium thing was tough because when I was in Levi Stadium for the NFC Championship game, I saw the Niner fan base go from dead, like do not resuscitate, to I think one of the hardest things that I had to do was not get into a fight. But the second thing was I'm walking down an elevator. What you see Lions fans, and of course it's like blue and red, so you can tell the difference. There's no like matching colors or similar colors. So you see blue and red, and we're going down the escalator, and you could hear these people in front of us, and you can hear the conversation of them planning for the Super Bowl. And it was just heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking, man. And then, to top it off, I had COVID, and it was, and then I got back to my room, and it was like this co-ed room where it was multiple beds in the room. So when I left, nobody was in this bed, and I was like in the middle bed. And then when I got back to the spot, there was a 49er fan who lives in like Connecticut, who's a season ticket holder, and he tries to go to as many games as possible. And he's in the room. And I'm like, dog, like, so anyway, I'm not going to lie. The Steelers game this year was worse heartbreaking than the Commanders game last year. We are a corner away from a Super Bowl, and Brad wouldn't trade it. Let me see. We were a corner away from a Super Bowl, and Brad wouldn't trade, and all we heard was trusting Brad. Okay, so what do you think? Stream says, I remember your live stream. It was depressing. Hey, which one, Streams? The one when I was in, like, the stadium, bro? That mess. It was almost like if you could feel your life force draining. That's what it felt like. You could feel like the momentum changing in the stadium. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, yo, we have to stop the bleeding. We have to stop. Because think about it. We didn't score. We didn't score. What was it? It was 24-17. And we didn't score until Jamison Williams, like, garbage touchdown. They wind up going up 34-24. It was crazy, bro. And I could feel like I imagine if you could feel yourself like dying, that's what it felt like. It literally felt like I'm sitting there, I got all these people, and you could just watch. Like if you had a countdown to when you would expire, it was on the clock. I watched that post-game show and the Commanders post-game. If no one falls to edge or O-line, I would trade back to 22 and get offensive tackle Caden Proctor from Alabama and get a third-round pick back from trading back. So if you go back, so you saying somebody to come up, but it depends on how far they have to come up, bro. Like, how many spots would you have to come up to give up a third-round pick? That's pretty steep. 23 was the only year we were one player away, a DE. Danny, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Okay, so Campbell says, here's what we need. Brian Dable as OC, Gannon or Morris as DC, restructure Goff, cut Decker, draft a tackle. Now with the new cap that we restructured, let's bring in Trey Hendrickson on a 1-year deal. That's actually not bad. That's actually not bad. That's not bad. He's okay. Let me see. He will be a lot better next year. I'm worried Proctor will be picked up before us. The combine will tell. You know what's crazy is like the combine is in 6 weeks, which is crazy. It's crazy. So how are we feeling today, man? Like I feel good overall because I think like the answers that we've been waiting on have to come this year. They have to come. Brad, everything he says is going to be under a microscope. Everything he says. But before we run out of time, because we already been on for 22 minutes, let's hear what Dan Campbell had to say in his final appearance in front of the media until the 2026 NFL season.
Just met with the players. They've had medical, all that stuff this morning, kind of doing their checklist. They'll get with the coaches, and then that's it, man. It's hard to believe. This is it. And, it's going to be a hard pill to.
Now, I think that what's coming up, like as we watch this, of course, I'm not a body language expert, but I think that as we watch this offseason, both Brad and Dan, well, we don't get to see Dan anymore, but we've seen enough from Dan. And I think that Dan is ready for change. And I'm not saying that he wants Brad fired. I think that he's ready for change. But we're going to see, I think this is the year because Dan has been very transparent with how he's feeling. And I think that when that first press conference on Thursday with Brad Holmes is going to tell us a lot. I think it's going to tell us from what he says and then what he does between January 5th and day 3 of the draft. I think that this is the Brad Holmes that we are going to get. This is the guy. If he doesn't change this year, he won't, and he's not him. That's what I think. So we're going to see. But this is the first time that the Lions have felt, to me, like they're not ascending. And this is the first time we haven't. If you go back and look, this is the first time we ended 2021 3-3-1. I think we ended with a win and we lost the first round pick or the first overall pick. 2022, ascension. 2023, ascension. 2024, ascension. We literally have ascended every single year, 3-13-1. And that's why things got to change. But listen, think about Dan Campbell. He hasn't felt this way probably ever because in year 2, you kind of knew like, yo, we still in those early stages of core pieces. I mean, Hutch was a rookie. Jamison Williams barely played, right? We have grown so much. And so this is the first year that regression has happened. And I think that it's going to mean a lot to Brad and Dan, especially Dan.
Swallow watching these teams in the playoffs. But I think you got to watch them,
Thank you, Dan. You have to. Thank you. You have to watch them. So Lions fans, I implore you, watch these teams. Watch football because that's how I know what we need. Look at Seattle. Seattle is swarming. You get to see teams. That's how I predict that the Lions were going to fall apart, that we were not ready. We didn't do anything. Other teams got better. We did not. It's just that simple. Other teams got better. We did not. I mean, here it is that Ben Johnson took all of our scraps and turned them into a playoff team. So watch other games. I'm telling you, it's to me, it's valuable information.
Watch it, force yourself to do it, because that's, the drive to want to be there, be a part of it. And
thank you, Dan, that he said, force yourself to do it.
That's what this business is really about, man. At the end of the day, is the competition, finding a way to win. I thought the guys earned that win yesterday. Man, they came out and collectively that team showed up. Our team showed up and they fought, they played hard, and played complimentary football. I was proud of them for that. Questions?
Yeah, when a season ends this way, obviously not what you wanted. You've done a lot of winning up till this point. Do you stay the course pretty much and still stay committed to the way you've done things, or do you look at making a lot of wholesale changes, coaching hires, personnel, whatever it might be, scheme, anything? Do you take a whole look at it and maybe think about tearing it down and doing different things?
Oh, I don't know who this guy is. His voice sounds new in this space. Let me know if you guys know who it is. That's a great question. And I have not heard this. I do this blindly with y'all so I can give you a genuine reaction. So I have not heard this before. This is the first time I've heard. So I don't know what his response is going to be, but I am excited to hear the response. I got to take a moment real quick. I usually don't do stuff like this because, I like to keep things personal or whatever. But my son is 16 today. 16 years ago he was born. And I have a 16-year-old son. It's crazy. Facial hair, mustache, you know what I'm saying? We talking about shaving, and it's kind of crazy. To me, he's still, that little guy, and now he's 16. So it's been sitting on me all day. Yeah. I don't really put, my information out there like that, people's birthdays, but today, man, my son is 16. So I am a father to a 16-year-old boy, or soon to be turning into a young man, man. So I want to take a minute to say that.
Well, I want to, first of all, I don't want to make any decisions that I'm not prepared to really think through. So I'm going to need a little bit here. I'm going to need a few days to really think about this and deep dive some areas. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Whatever is best for this team, I'm going to do. What I believe is best for this team, I will do. I think as far as doing things, some of it is a little bit like, I want to get back to some of the things we were doing a couple of years ago, and what I say and what I mean by that is just getting back to a little bit of what we did at the ground level, man. Just a little bit of the way we train, the way we go about things. It's going to be a good training camp for us. We're going to go back and really sharpen the sword a little bit. Just, and I know that's a ways off, but I think that's the big thing.
All right, so Dan Campbell, of course, he wasn't going to tell you exactly what he's going to do. What did you, like, I have my interpretation of that. What was yours? My interpretation of that was, go back. We literally were just talking about this yesterday. We were talking about it yesterday or Friday when we did our show on Friday, that Dan keeps saying, like, going back and doing things like that. To me, what I heard from that was 2023 is when everything changed. If you think about it, the core of this team stopped being built in 2023. The first half, the core of this team, to me, my personal opinion, ended with the drafting of Sam Laporta. That was the cutoff point. Then from there you start taking projects. You took, you took what's his name? Hendon Hooker. Okay, cool. That's fine. Then you trade up for Broderick, and I think that's where it really went wrong. And there's really not too many people you can name from Sam Laporta or after Broderick, and he only stands out because of what we gave up for him and what he did on this team, right? You take that out. Very few people stand out after that point. Ennis is looking like a disaster. Terrion is on the fringe. And I'm glad his surgery went well and stuff like that. And these guys put their body through a lot, and I understand that. But, unfortunately, I'm not in the business of, this is not about personal. Of course, I wish everybody well and everybody to be healthy, but we talking about business, bro. If you're not good at your job, you getting fired. You chose to be in a gladiator sport. So I'm not going to feel sorry if you stay injured. I'm going to feel sorry if you get injured. You know what I'm saying? But if you can't do what you chose to do and you get paid millions of dollars to do it, like Taylor Decker was saying yesterday, the dude was like, I can't complain. We get paid millions of dollars to do that. He literally said it. But he like, yo, my body is killing me. That's the trade-off, right? So for me, I feel like Dan is saying, without saying, that we have to go back to the less arrogant us. Maybe he stops appearing in commercials. I don't know. He probably got a contract with Applebee's. But we go back to what made this team. When me and Brad were in, specifically Brad, bro. I mean, how much did Dan have to do with drafting Broderick Martin? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I heard. Let me know what you heard in the comments.
Away from there, Dan, that you're sort of referring to, that maybe cost you.
I don't want to go into that right now. I don't want to go into that.
Okay, wait a minute. I didn't hear it.
I think that's the big thing.
Away from there, Dan, that you're sort of referring to, that maybe cost you.
I don't want to go into that right.
Yo, wait a minute. Hold on, guys. Wait a minute, bro. Mello, is that what you was talking about? Hey, Mello, is that what you were talking about? Oh my. Yo, did y'all hear that? Oh no, it's not coming. That's not it? Or is that it? Oh my. Yo. Okay. All right, I'm going to play it again, and I'm going to tell you, I have on headphones so I can hear it a little better. I'm going to tell you, wow, bro. Okay. I'm going to play, this is big. And you know what? A lot of this stuff that we do during the offseason is speculation field. It is fueled by speculation and rumors and all that stuff. Yes, but one thing that I have found out by following the NFL for 30 years is that, some of this stuff is intentional. This leaking of information is done on purpose. Otherwise, there's no insiders. Like, that's a fact. Also, man, I would love to have an insider. Also, that not everything that is out there is just rumors. It is some truth to a lot of this. All right, I'm going to play it back, and you tell me. Well, you know what, Thomas? I can't blame Dave Burkett for one of the crappiest audio setups that I've seen. I watch other fan base and their media, and clear as a button. You can hear everything. I'm going to play it back. And the reason I brought that up is sometimes stuff comes out and y'all want to dismiss it. Don't dismiss everything so quickly, because there is some truth to a lot of this stuff. Here's what Dan Campbell said. If you could hear it, I will make sure that I'll repeat it back.
Back and really sharpen the sword a little bit. Just, and I know that's a ways off, but I think that's the big thing.
Away from there, Dan, that you're sort of referring to, that maybe cost you.
I don't want to go into that right now. I don't want to go into that.
All right. So Dave Burkett said, what are you referring to that you want to get away from that maybe cost you? And Dan Campbell said firmly, sternly, I don't want to talk about that right now. I don't want to talk about that right now. What is that? What is it? That's the question. And I'm going to tell you, I want you to watch for certain things in the offseason. It sounded like he said bear damage. Okay. All right. So earlier in the clip, Dan Campbell is talking about some things that they have to change. And there are some things that they have to get away from and get back to doing. Dave said, what are some of those things that you need to get away from doing? Dan Campbell said, I don't want to get into that right now. I think that has a whole lot of layers. There's a whole lot of layers to that.
I know you said you want to think things through, but just surface level, do you think it's more than just tweaks that are needed with the roster? Or is it tweaking?
I think it's a number of things. I do. I think it's, and I don't think in itself one thing is not a huge thing, but I think, you know, when you start adding up a number of things, maybe we need to do. We need to make a couple of changes and move a couple of guys in areas, whether it's coaches or players. I think it's all of that. I think it's, you know, I think some things that happen are also, man, we learn on the fly here a little bit too, man, learning to adjust as we go through and growing, which I did think we grew as the season went on in some areas, learning to adapt, adjust, all that. You know, and there again, we always know we're going to get hit by injuries, right? That's happened every year. That's part of the NFL. Everybody gets it. But, you know, we just always got to think about, man, contingency plan. How do we make the most of this roster and really preparing the next guy up to be ready, you know, to step up for us for, if possible, you know, half a season. I mean, that's what we're charged with.
All right, so I heard a lot. I heard a lot in there. And, of course, I'm looking for things to talk about. I heard a lot. Dan is only going to say so much. He's not going to say, I'm going to fire this guy, I'm going to do that. The only time I've ever heard him do that is when Aubrey Pleasant got fired. And I thought that I could tell that he didn't want to do it, but he literally said something had to change. I'll never forget. He said something had to change. So, basically, Aubrey Pleasant was scapegoated. Dan Campbell, if Kelvin Shepherd's gone, Johnny Morton is gone, and you see this guy working, I'm gonna tell you, bro, this is when the fracture is potentially gonna start. I think that there could be a fracture developing between these two gentlemen. That Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, there could be a little crack. I think the crack started to form, and I'm not saying that they're not buddies and they don't like each other, but at the same time, Dan has his priorities, Brad has his. And I heard that, like, okay, we can move some people around and blah, blah, blah. Dan did everything but say we need to get talent on this team. He did. Notice what, and I'm going to tell you something too. If you are watching, all right, if you are watching the offseason and you start to not hear certain phrases, right? If certain things are not said anymore, they used to be said like, oh, we got our core players, and I think this, and I think that, then there are things that change you, tells you that the mindset of these guys are changing. And if Dan, this is the last time we will hear Dan for a very long time, outside of, like, you know, some interviews at the owners' meetings or whatever. I think this is when the fracture is beginning. I think they might start, this is when the two different visions is happening. Like, what haven't we heard? We haven't heard in quite some time, no amount of talent will get you on the team. Dan Campbell mentioned talent the other day. We're going to need that. So I think he's being very PC right now, but I think I know, and I thought I was on camera, I think I know what he's trying to say. Listen, I've been right a lot, and I know it sounds like I brag and stuff like that, but I've been right a lot because you have to get better. I think that they came in and what they did worked for what we needed. We needed to wipe out the Patricia stench, and we did that. These guys potentially killed or essentially killed SOL, and that in itself is a huge accomplishment. But now they got to finish the job. Hey, C. Pool with the super chat says, Brad is in witness protection. You ain't seen nothing yet. Shout out to my guy, man, Nephew Reg on Twitter. When I bring in this post, hey, boy, I tell you. Watch this.
It's been so much of a upward trajectory, like since you got here, every year it's gotten better and better and better. This is the first year it kind of regressed in a sense, but how much do you guys still believe in your process as far as the
Hey, Reg, is that you, bro? Was that you? I don't know if it's just the same Reg from Twitter, but if that's you, appreciate you, nephew. Hey, the screenshot was impeccable, bro. Wait till I bring this joint in.
for fundamental players, and do you still believe in what you guys built?
Oh, for sure. For sure. We're not going to back down on that. We believe in what we do. It's got us to where we've gotten to at this point. Now, we fell short this year. And look, we all acknowledge that. I acknowledge that. It's bitter, you know. It's a bitter taste. I mean, it feels good to win yesterday, but ultimately it's frustrating, you know. But we got nobody to blame but ourselves. but I really don't believe we're that far off. There's a couple of things we can do, and I just want to make sure, man, we go after it, man. And I'm not saying we weren't hungry, but let's get that hunger back. And, we're going to bring in some guys to compete.
Yes! Yes! That's what, there we go. There we go, bro. That's what we needed to hear. I don't know why that's what we needed to hear. Dan is trying to say something without giving everything away. We're going to bring in some guys to compete. I'm telling you, bro, he talking about talent. He ain't talking about Davenports and Mosleys and all that stuff. I was hoping he didn't get complacent, blah. What works, it's been working, and blah, blah, blah. We going to bring in some people to compete. Whether that's with Jake Bates or Jared Goff. I don't know. It's always, look, YouTube competition keeps me on my toes. That's why I work so darn hard. You got AI channels just stealing. I saw, the clickbait guys, the crazy, what's their name? Sneaky Good Moves. Sneaky Good Moves. Somebody stole their avatar and uses it for an AI channel. So, I mean, if you watch them, let them know that. But yeah, I thought it was them, but it's literally their avatar, and I was like, oh, Sneaky Good Moves. But it's, so that's what I wanted to hear though. I told you, bro, I have no chill. I have been in this space for for 8 years. I've been through a lot. Dragged through the mud on YouTube, off YouTube, and I am not tolerating it anymore. I am not holding back because I have been right. And it's very simple. If you don't, 2 + 2 = 4. It equals nothing more, nothing less. If you don't bring in talent, who thought we were going to win with the way that we drafted over the past 2.5 years with free agency? We took Ennis Rakestraw. He's done nothing for this team. We traded up for Broderick Martin. He's not on the team anymore. This team failed. Me and multiple other creators, very few of us have been saying that. You would get destroyed if you spoke ill of the God that was Brad Holmes, but now he has come back down to earth. And so, but that's what I wanted to hear is we got to bring some talent on this team.
Man, we need competition in a lot of areas, man, because that brings out the best in players, whether it's with some of the guys that were here or the guys that we bring in. That's how you elevate the roster.
Elevate, baby. Elevate the roster. Yeah, dog. You know what he's saying a lot. He's saying a lot. We're not reading into this. He's saying a lot. You can't listen. Okay, no disrespect, right? If you're Michael Jordan, you can't bring in somebody less than Michael Jordan, and then Michael Jordan is like, yo, I don't got to work hard. I'm the best in the business. How is this guy going to push me? No offense to everybody on the Lions roster. But if you already at the top, and maybe he talking about Aleem McNeil, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe some guys got too complacent. Oh, I'm the big dog here. Okay, all right. Okay, let me see that. Oh my God, bro. So, I love this. The Lions got complacent. They got complacent. What they did got us to where we are, but it also got us to where we are now. Think about that. It got us to where we are, then the good and the bad. You got to take the good with the bad. But Brad he had an opportunity, man. He had an opportunity and he blew it. And I cannot wait, because if we hear a contrast between what Dan is saying and Brad is saying, that's the fracture. That is the fracture, bro. And when I show you this photo from Sheila, oh, that was perfect. When I show you this photo, it's going to be crazy.
For over half the season, I know you prefer not to.
I'm sorry.
You call plays for over half the season.
Yeah.
I know you prefer to not do that so you can pay attention to some of the bigger picture stuff in game, but are you intrigued at all by the potential stability that being the permanent play caller could provide? And is that something you'll seriously consider this offseason?
I'm open to anything. I don't know exactly where I'm at with that yet. One of the good things, if I did do that, you don't have to worry about somebody else leaving. You don't have to worry about your play caller leaving. So that would be one of the perks of it. But
Wait a minute. What? Yo. Wait a minute. Yo. Okay, Dan. I see you. What did he say? Yo, he said a lot right there. And I told you, look, it ain't no love between him and Ben. It is no love between from the yo. This is great. This is great. Dan Campbell hates this Ben Johnson thing. He hates it. He gonna say all the right thing. I'm gonna tell you what he really saying. He hate this. If I take over, if I keep play calling, you don't have to worry about your play caller leaving. And that's on both sides of the ball. But I'm gonna focus more on Ben Johnson because Ben Johnson took a coaching job in division. Dan don't like that, bro. I'm gonna speak for him. He don't like that. He don't like that. No man is gonna like that, bro. Like real talk. You took, especially the way Ben did it. Think about this, and think about what Ben was doing every single year. It was, it's the Carolina Panthers. Nah, I don't want to do that. Then it was the Washington Commanders. Nah, I'm gonna call you on the plane and tell you I don't want to do that. So Dan is like, yo, man, you sticking around or what? And then Ben says, you know what, Dan? Now's the year. Yeah, I had Jameson Williams throw a pass and it led to an interception. But you know what? By the way, it's gonna be in division. Love you. So, it's a lot to. I can't wait to. I can't. Is it Thursday yet? Is it Thursday? I might just stay up till Thursday, bro.
But I'm going to think through all of that, and there again, I think I really want to do what I feel is best for the team, and that included, if I believe that's what's.
I'm not reaching, bro. I don't reach. I'm not reaching. Not at all. I didn't say he didn't like him. I said he didn't like the Ben Johnson thing. And go look at the hug yesterday. Go look at the hug yesterday. If you really care about somebody, you've seen coaches hug after a game, and it's like, hey man, hey, a little whisper in the air, good job, blah blah blah. No, this one was worse than the first one. It was just like that. Both of them did the same thing. Come on, dog. Hey, listen. Hey, Dan Campbell. Here's the deal. Dan Campbell is me, and Omaha Sports is Ben Johnson. Omaha Steaks is Ben Johnson. So if you want to know anything about why I keep picking on Omaha Sports, that's why. I mean, Omaha Steaks is Ben Johnson, and I am Dan Campbell. That's exactly how that went.
Best for us, and we and I feel good about it, then I will. If I just feel like I don't, then I won't do it. I won't do it.
Hey, Dave, 5 years here. You won your last regular season game all 5 years. A lot of people say there's no carol because it's a different team next year. Do you feel there's a carol for winning the last game, even though you probably could have got better draft choices by losing the game?
Well, yeah, I'm not worried about the draft, whatever. I think it's important we play to win. We play to win. Otherwise, why we shouldn't have rolled out Goff or St. Brown or Reeder or Decker or any of those guys if we weren't saying we wanted to win.
I appreciate this coming from Dan Campbell. I appreciate it. And to all fans, bro, I've been seeing people on Twitter talk about how mad they are at a draft pick. Don't be like that. We had Calvin Johnson. Look at where the draft picks have gotten us so far, right? Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, second-round picks. Jack Campbell, right around here is when we took him. Right around where we are right now. And y'all like, you talk about me crying, we messed up our draft position. I mean, I don't understand how you can get mad when the team loses during the season, but then you want them to lose so they can get a better player. No, the goal of this is to work with what you have. And to do that, you have to make moves in free agency too. You can't just sit on your hands and sign Davenports. C. Poole with the super chat says, Tom Brady personally had 5 interactions with Ben. Ben waited 5 years. Simple Jack. Mark Davis wanted a 3-year deal. Tom Brady personally had interactions with Ben. Ben waited 5 years. Okay. Mark Davis wanted a 3-year deal. Mark Davis is who? Who is he?
We play here to win. We got a lot of young guys on this roster. They need to see how it's done. They need to understand we're here to win. We're here to compete. We're here to get better. You're not here to just be here and get by.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
We need it from everybody. And so I think what's important is that we win, you know, and we're always trying to win. And no, it didn't get us anywhere, but we won, and that was the objective.
Decker,
Injuries.
Go ahead.
with Decker kind of openly contemplating his playing future, what lessons can be learned about the Frank Ragnow situation last year? Do you kind of have to plan, like, you might not be here? Like, does that change the offseason plan at all?
Well, you know, we're going to have to obviously take note of that, and I know Decker's going to come talk to Brad and myself here, you know, either today or tomorrow, and you know, and I know this, whatever goes down there, you know, from his perspective, he's going to need some time. I mean, you just do. You know, when you've played as long as he has and had the career he's had, and you're going to need a little bit. But absolutely, we learn lessons. You learn lessons there.
Injuries.
What are you most proud of?
I'm coming back to you, Justin.
You most proud of from the season, and what is most disappointing?
Well, I'm proud of the way these guys just responded every week, man. It's not easy to, you know, you win, you lose, you win, you lose, you win, you know, and for these guys to, of course, it can get frustrating, but man, they came back to work every Wednesday and they went after it. They tried to improve. You know, you go out to the games, man, they bust their ass, and it just sometimes it doesn't work the way you wanted it to. And but this group, man, they never laid down. They just came back in. They were great teammates, you know. And so I appreciate that, man, the work ethic that these guys had. You know, obviously the most disappointing thing is you know, I said this to them yesterday. I said it last night. We were one play away from getting in, basically. One play, either Minnesota game or Pittsburgh, or you're probably in, you know. You have a good chance. And so that's how close it is. You know, but that's what this league is.
Injuries, Dan. You said you've been hit every year, and obviously it's part of the game, but maybe a little bit more heavier than most teams the last 2 seasons. When you evaluate that on a big picture, you know, how do you compartmentalize the different components? What do you need to look at there? Or do you just chalk it up to a stretch of bad luck?
Yeah, I think when you start talking about some of these, it's like, man, look at the soft tissue. That's where I always start, because if you got a major soft tissue issue, then it's more than just the player, in my opinion. There's other factors. We've been great. I mean, we do a great job of preparing our players. When you start talking about, you know, it's an Achilles, unfortunately, those are freak things, man. And so it's, for whatever reason, we've kind of been hit, man. And, you know, and listen, as far as practice, I've done everything, man. I've done from walkthroughs to doing a little bit of both. And so at the end of the day, I know this, you got to get your team prepared to play. And so that's what I'm always going to hang my hat on. I like our training staff. I think they do a hell of a job. I really do. And, you know, it was a tough year in some areas.
Yep, you've been on the job now 5 years. I know you'll do a comprehensive self-scout of yourself and everything, but just if I ask, how do you feel like you did this year on the job being the head coach of the Lions?
Not good enough. We didn't get in. I mean, we underachieved, so not good. I would give myself a freaking F.
All right. Now, here, I want to say this. I want to say this, and I want y'all to hear me very clearly. See, this is when I'm going to bring the heat. This is what sets me apart from everybody else. Dan Campbell, I love this man. I do. Does he have to get better as a coach? Yes, he has to grow. He has to evolve. And I feel like he has to be able to make the tough decisions, right? So we have moved on from Aaron Glenn a while ago. I think we should have, but he didn't do that. However, the accountability that Dan Campbell takes, my mustache hair, the accountability that Dan Campbell takes, is that enough to keep your job? No. But it's enough for me to give you an opportunity to say, okay, listen, maybe I have to pair you up with the right guys. This man gave himself, quote, a freaking F, which is the lowest grade you can get. And what I'm starting to see, and this is the part that I said why I'm different in this space, because I'm starting to see a difference between these two guys, right? where Dan Campbell, now is he going to actually take accountability, get the right play caller, make the right decisions, take the point sometime, whatever you have to do. Is he going to do that? Yes. But he's been kind of loud this last week. Jared Goff is a freaking stud, and he's our guy, and he's going nowhere, right? Very, very concrete about that. And then if you have Brad Holmes come out, and this is where, to me, the GM can also take accountability. I'm sure that we've heard general managers say, look, I failed this team. And if you got Dan Campbell over here humiliating himself, saying, I give myself an F, I failed these players, I could do better, I. And then you have Matthias over there, and if he come out with some, well, how many teams in the National Football League, right? Well, if you notice, so Dan Campbell is humbling himself, and Brad is not. He's not. And if we see a bunch of the same stuff, I'm telling you, bro, what grown man can stand up there and take accountability and give himself the lowest grade possible? A guy that's humbling himself. I mean, all I've seen in this whole press conference, I mean, even yesterday taking the points, we'll see if that carries over to next year, but that could have been humbling. Because I'm like, ain't no way, Dan, you taking in a game that has no playoff implications for us, you're taking the points? So my question and criticism with Campbell is, are you going to keep doing that during the actual season? Sometimes it's okay, dog. You don't have to be the most aggressive coach in the NFL. Sometimes it's okay. Those 3 points, look at what happened yesterday to the Baltimore Ravens. Look at what 3 points. I mean, 1 point is big. Sometimes it's okay to take the points. So you're going to see this man. Look, he took the ultimate accountability today. A freaking F. I failed this team. If we see something different from Brad, I think that tells you that there's a bigger problem.
Of all those things you want to deep dive this offseason, what's top of the list? Play calling or a personnel thing, or what do you need to figure out first, I guess?
Well, the first thing I got to figure out is the staff. I need to make sure that, where do we go from here?
Ooh.
I just need to make sure that I feel good about, where the guys are at, the positions they're in, or do we tweak a couple of things, move a couple of guys? Do we stay pat? Those are the things I got to sort through. That's the first for me. That's what I got to get through. And I got to do some digging here.
Ooh, hey, somebody getting fired. Somebody getting fired or not, or expired. Somebody will either be expired or fired, bro. I don't know what these guys' contracts were looking like, but somebody gone. And it might be more than one. Yo, if Dan come with the hammer, bro, I'm not even going to be mad. I'm not going to be mad. Wow.
Decisions on that yet, or that's
No, I haven't.
All right, the last question was from Burkett was, have you made any decisions with that? And he said, no, he hasn't. I mean, I like Dave. Dave, he be pressing him. But that's a little too. He literally just said he got some digging to do. So of course he didn't make any decisions. That was a 12-minute press conference that took 30 minutes to dissect. We're going to do the same thing with Brad Holmes. Only difference with Brad is I'm gonna let it play. We're not gonna do it live. When it's done, the minute it's done, I'll set up the live stream, and then when it's done, then we'll go live. Heard a lot, guys. Dan Campbell said, you can't see me. My time is... Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, boy. A lot was said, man. All right. The moment that you guys have been waiting for is here, man. All right. Okay. Oh man. Hold on, let me pop this chat out, bro. Ooh-wee. Hey, he not playing around. So if you just now joining us, they need a name for Sunday. Raheem Morris was fired yesterday. I mean, before the players got out the shower, he was fired. And I'm like, wow. So some people think it was a mistake for the Falcons to do that. Raheem Morris had the Rams the 3rd overall defense. They also had some pieces as well. I wouldn't mind Raheem. I feel bad for Kelvin Shepherd. I do, because Kelvin Shepherd, he did not have the pieces. He didn't. He really didn't. Aaron Glenn, 2023-4 was the sweet spot for this team. I feel bad for him. I do. Because I don't know what Kelvin could have done. I really don't. Aaron, to me, he had a nice sample size. He had 4 years of sample size. I mean, look what happened to the Jets. The Jets are abysmal. And he's safe, but he might be fired next year. Like, Aaron Glenn might be fired next year. Arthur Blank ain't playing around. Fired a guy. And I think so. Morris, is this Raheem's second go round as head coach somewhere? I feel like it is. I feel like it was. But yeah, buddy, it's going to be quite the offseason for sure. I see give Shepherd another chance. Derek Brad Holmes is on the hot seat, or is it Johnny Morton? Johnny Morton is already baking. Raheem Morris or Jonathan Gannon? I'm going to tell you. Jonathan Gannon, I don't know. What defense was he before he got his job? What defense was he? Yes, the Falcons weren't playing around. Okay, so Kiera says, I wouldn't mind seeing Shep go another season with an updated defensive scheme. We clearly played too much man coverage, and it was predictable to the opponents, and it exposed the players. Okay, he coached Tampa. I knew it was somewhere, bro. I knew it was somewhere. Okay. All right, Kiera. So would you, if somebody more qualified comes along, would you be willing? And see, this is why I mentioned the sticky situation for these guys. They don't have a lot of time, and that's why I think we heard the Dan Holmes. Oh my God, the Dan Campbell that we had. My mind is everywhere, because Dan realizes that press conference that we watched. Dan realized his time is running short. And I think he loves this job. I don't think he ever wants to coach anywhere else. I don't. And I think that, listen, I think we're going to see some type of pushback. I got a sneaky suspicion Morton will be around much longer than he should. Hey, long as they ain't calling the plays, bro. That is, you cannot take play calling away and then give it back. So he can stick around. Maybe he can, fold the towels in the locker room. Maybe he said he would do anything for the team. So maybe he can, I don't know, clean the showers, whatever. Maybe he can cut the grass at Allen Park. I don't know. But he can't be calling plays, because if that happened, then Dan going to be right on that hot seat too. Like, they going to scoot your cheeks over, Brad. I need to squeeze my cheeks up in there. All right. The moment that you guys have been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be me on Thursday. Good morning. Good morning. I've talked the whole night through. Good morning. Good morning to you. Brad Holmes is in front of the media on Thursday. Today was Dan Campbell's last press conference of the official last press conference of the regular season. And we learned a lot in that press conference. And now, for the first time since the preseason, we get to hear from Melvin Mathias. He did not address the team, not once this year. Not at the trade deadline when no move was made, not a once. And he has a lot of work to do this offseason. And here is what we know. These are the facts currently. How you feel, how I feel is irrelevant, because there are facts that go along. The facts are Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have officially ended year 5. And year 5 was the first year of a regression. Like, we literally have progressed every year. 3-13-1, 9-8. We went 8-2 over our last 10 games. 12-5, 15-2. Now we're back to 9-8. So we literally, it's literally like a roller coaster. We went up. Last year we hit the top of the mountain. We came back down. So now, and to stay with the roller coaster analogy, usually no peak is like that very first peak. You might get a peak. It might go up. Depending on what roller coaster you get on, you can go up. Maybe it's 1, but you usually don't get that high again. So can the Detroit Lions get that high again under this regime? Whether this regime consists of both of the gentlemen together. Now, everybody knows the stat about quarterback head coach combo and what they don't do after 5 years together. But what about general managers, head coaches? We're going to see some general managers replaced where the head coaches have been kept. Mike McDaniel right now is still on the staff of the Miami Dolphins. I don't know if the Dolphins are going to give their new general manager a chance to pick his guy, because if that happens, then they both will wind up going together if that day comes. But the facts are that these two gentlemen have 2 years remaining of their deal right now. Those are the facts. They can't be disputed. Now, will Sheila do something in the offseason? I don't know. I don't know. And I don't know if she knows. Let me show you what I mean. Shout out to my guy, man, nephew, Reg's Too Crazy, who was the dude was on it. And the amount of people that were on this is insane. The quality of the zoom in with this is insane. Now, this is the locker room, and typically in the locker room, Brad Holmes is there, Dan Campbell is there, a lot of players are there, some other staff is there, and Sheila is there. All right? I'm going to show you the face of Sheila Ham. Look at that face. Look at that face. Now, you can say, Derek, that's her standing face. That's her sitting face. I don't know. Now, she looking at Dan Campbell in this instance. But you know who else is in that room? Matthias. He is actually on the right side of Dan Campbell. He's on where you see my cursor. He's there. Now, he's been in witness protection for the last 4 months, and he been found. He been found. We about to send the mob squad to him on Thursday. Does that look like a lady that is excited about the future? Does this look like the same lady that came out? It is the same lady, but is that a face? And yeah, it's fuzzy. It's fuzzy, but I think a picture's worth 1,000 words. She ain't looking too happy. And again, I said this and I'll say it again. The facts are that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, they have 2 years left of employment currently with the Detroit Lions. The facts are they were not hired together. Now, speculation could say that one of these gentlemen is greater than the other. And I think we know who that is. Dan Campbell was giving a 6-year deal. Brad Holmes was given a 5. Why would you not give both of your new coach and general manager, why would you not give them the same deal? If you believed in them the exact same way, why would you do that? Think about it. When Sheila extended them after the NFC Championship game, now they have equal time. Dan got an additional year. Brad got an additional 2. Speaking of Brad now is in his new contract. He goes into his new contract this year. So, what do you think she looks like? I think she looked pretty upset to me. Speaking of what somebody looked like, we found him. Matthias, we found him. Witness protection. He's been spotted in the locker room. Now, I don't know what this is looking like. To me, this is looking like disappointment. Head down, you clapping. Head down. You are standing well away. Sheila is probably somewhere over here, and Dan's somewhere over here. This is after, as Dan Campbell was tossing the lone game ball to Jake Bates, there's Matthias. We found him, ladies and gentlemen. And he will be brought to justice on Thursday. He will be brought in front of the court on Thursday. And I love being a fan. I love being a fan because we require greatness. And even when you're great, we're still demanding. And that's what I would really like Lions fans to do, is stop settling for mediocre, stop settling for good. Philadelphia Eagles fans, as nasty as they are, the moment that they will boo their team when they're winning because they always demand greatness. Now, Philly cut a little different. You know, they not like us. Philly is cut a little different. But we demand greatness, and we should stay demanding. It's been 5 years since Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn were fired. It's been 7 since Jim Caldwell was fired, right? No, 8. It's been 8 since Jim Caldwell was fired. If you look at this regime, They are now one of the longest tenured general manager head coaches, like together. I think Bob Quinn, he was a general manager for 5 years. Matt Patricia was a coach for 3. Then you had Jim Schwartz. Jim Schwartz only got 5 years. He only got 5 years. The Lions' patience were super thin. Now, those guys did not produce one playoff win. They don't have the same track record that these gentlemen have. But at the end of the day, they got 2 years left. And now you're in this situation of, how do you move forward? That's why I said that Sheila needs to know what's going on, because she has to make a decision. Do I believe if I extend you again, let's say they both got 2 years left. So what could Sheila realistically do? It's only going to be either a 1 or 2 year extension. Has the Lions general manager Brad and Dan done enough to entice Sheila to give them more time? What do you think in the comment section? Do you think that if you're Sheila, do you think that Brad and Dan have earned enough time? Here's what I would do. If I'm Sheila, and I said this before, I bring Brad and Dan together into a room. I talk to them. I then bring them separately, and I talk to them separately. Dan Campbell, I thank him for everything he's done, and I want to hear from him. Brad Holmes, I bring him in. I thank him for everything he's done, and I want to hear from him. And then I start asking about the future. And I start grilling Brad more than Dan, because I brought you in here to make this team a Super Bowl contender. And we never were this year. You could tell very early on, and that's another thing too, you could tell early on that the Lions were not ready. Think about this. I want y'all to think about this, okay? For all the talk that we do about selling the farm and mortgaging the future and all of this, it was a tough year for injuries. We lost our guy last year with Aiden Hutchinson, and we were affected by that. Think about when we talk about being one player away. Now, the Lions aren't one player away now, but they were at a time. That one player away is a real thing, okay? The Green Bay Packers, their defense was ridiculous with the overhyped Micah Parsons. Lions fans love to say somebody is overhyped when they're not on their team, but yet we'll settle and we don't complain about Marcus Davenport. Do you realize that the Green Bay Packers have not won a game since Micah Parsons has gone down? He did enough to help this team literally have a multiple game losing streak and crawl into the playoffs. If that ain't the effect of one player, I don't know what is. Now, I could be mistaken. I don't think they won a game since he went down. But that's what one player can do. So, Lions, that time has passed. They are multiple players away now. We might need a left tackle. We might need a right tackle. We're going to need a center. We're going to need some edge, and a number 2 edge rusher. We're going to need those things. We don't know what's happening with Brian or Kirby. We don't know if Terrion is him. He's going into year 3. DJ Reader, right? So we got to get better. But do you think that this is the face of a woman that is satisfied? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. And so this is Dan. Here's Sheila. Brad is somewhere back here, and Jake is right over here. And shout out to my guy on Twitter. You know who you are. He said, because I've been talking about Brad Holmes forever. And I'm not going to say your name because I don't want, anybody to say anything. But he said, me and him been going back and forth on Al-Qadim Muhammad and Brad Holmes. And he thinks that he holds Dan more accountable than Brad. Yesterday, he said something that even he was shocked about. Hey, nephew, that's the same thing. You get your filthy hands off me. That's the same thing I thought, bro. I'm not even kidding. When I saw her, I was like, she's not going to do that to Dan, but she would do it to Brad. That's the mood that she's in right now. I'm not even lying. It's a, hey, if you know, you know. All right. So I'm saying to myself, have you earned an extension? Have they done it? I don't know. I don't know. But I need to know something. We need to figure something out because this team doesn't have a lot of time with this regime. Could we see a time that these gentlemen are separated? And I think that who's done more for a culture standpoint is Dan. I mean, without Dan Campbell, all of that grit, all of that stuff, that's not a thing. We took on, Dan Campbell said, this team will take on the identity of this city. Those were some of his opening words from his press conference. As a matter of fact, you know what we might do? We might go back in the vault. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go back in the vault and we're going to react to Dan Campbell's and Brad Holmes' opening press conference. What sucked is they were like over Zoom because COVID was still going on. But we'll do that this coming week. So, what do you think? What do you think Sheila is saying? What do you think? What would you do if you're Sheila? Do you make a move? Do you have a conversation? I think a conversation is starting about where to go simply because we don't have a lot of time left. Think about this. The Lions have less time now than they did when they extended the two gentlemen. When Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell got extended, one had 2 years, one had 3 years. So now both of them only have 2. Let me know what you think in the comments below. That window won't be open forever. The GM assignment, Sheila might fire Agnew, the GM assistant, instead of Brad, not gonna lie. You know, I'm hearing people want him. I'm hearing people want Ray Agnew. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. So I don't know, y'all, but we got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff happening this week. But before we end, I want to get your opinions on something. So the Lions, they got a lot of work to do this offseason, and it's going to be a tough assignment. Dan Campbell already said, and we'll know what Brad is thinking in 72 hours. I can't wait. I am giddy. I might just try to stay up, drink a bunch of coffee, and stay up as long as I can because I want to be up when he goes live. But ironically, the Detroit Lions are officially in the offseason. Did you know that? Like, they're officially in the offseason. And I wonder what kind of offseason moves they're going to make. And I know that we are going to have a lot of work to do. And we're going to sign some players that are already on this team. There are 36 people on the team under contract. There are 2 people that's getting have void years on their contract. I'm of the mindset that maybe we bring back Alex Anzalone if the price is right. And I mean, price is if it's right for him and us. We can't be stiffing everybody. But today, check this out. This is the NFL operations calendar. On January 5th, which is today, clubs may begin signing free agent players for the 2025 season, including players from the CFL. All right, so that starts today. That starts today, where you can start doing that. And then we look at and pretty much after the playoffs, and here's everything, the Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl, the NFC, AFC Championship games, the Super Bowl, all of these things. So the Lions are going to have some things to do. Here's when the tampering period begins, March 9th. So the Lions can start signing people, if I'm understanding this correctly, on their team that are part of their team as early as today. Either way it goes, we know that we do that first. Who should the Lions bring back? Who are they going to bring back? I'm going to tell you one person who better not be back on this team. Davenport. Marcus Davenport better not be on the team. Did you see that when Marcus dove for the interception and almost made the greatest play as a Detroit Lion in his Detroit Lions career? I was like, man, you couldn't. Anyway, if Davenport comes back to the Lions, I want Brad Holmes fired on the spot. That's it. There's no more talk of it. If you bring back Marcus Davenport, you should be fired on the spot. You should be fired on the spot. There's not. Look, let me know in the comment section if you disagree. If you disagree. If you bring back Marcus Davenport, you should be fired on the spot. Like, if I'm Sheila and I hear somebody say, hey, well, Marcus Davenport's coming back, I get up, I go get my mother, make sure the scooter was charged up, I get on the back of it, I hold the handlebars, I tell her where Brad is at. Matter of fact, I'll drive the scooter. I will drive into Brad Holmes' office with a box. I would pull up with that box. I would reach up off the scooter if I'm Martha, and I tap the little thing. Well, I think his name is actually printed on the side. But I take a Sharpie. Or a piece of tape. And I rip it off. I put it up there, and I write vacant. And I say, Brad Holmes, we appreciate your service, but your time as general manager for the Detroit Lions is over. Let the search begin. Marcus Davenport returns to his team. Brad Holmes should be fired on the spot. But the Lions we know that they're going to fill their roster first. Do you bring back Lord have mercy, Malcolm Rodriguez? Do you bring back Josh Pascal? Who would you like to see that's a free agent return to the Detroit Lions? Is it as Alex Anzalone? Because we can do that first. And the Lions will do that first. Every team does that first. If you're on the team, they can bring you back without the tampering. The tampering period is for other teams. When you are a player of a different team trying to relocate to another team, but you can re-sign your guys. You can make contract. Khalif Raymond. Should Khalif Raymond be back? Tom Kennedy. A lot of guys that need to come back. Let me see. Alex Anzalone and Davenport can both go. Some hungry players in the CFL. Muhammad Rakisian Maddox. Enough of the depth. And Raymond. So, nobody cares. Says, I think Sheila wants more jewelry than she does money. And she'll cut ties with Matthias if he doesn't move the needle in 2026. Well, I will tell you this. About that situation. Is right now, the only knock against Sheila is that Sheila was sitting on the council when they hired Matt Patricia. She was there. It was her mom's decision, but she was under her mom's wing to take over. However, she made the decision to fire both of those guys. She made the decision to bring in Brad and Dan. She came out and she endorsed them in 2022 when they started 1-6. I'm not saying that Martha wasn't in the locker room and all that stuff. Most of them are. But she came out and did those things. So outside of the Matt Patricia situation, that being on like the council and part of the decision-making process that brought him in, then to me, she hasn't lost my trust at all. At all. Now, at the end of Brad and Dan, at the end of their contract, I mean, even extending them, I liked it. I think that they earned it. They earned exactly what they got. She gave them a couple more years. She gave them 2 and 1 year respectively. So I think you could be right that Sheila is about, and she's got the legacy of her entire family waiting on her. The stuff that was said about her dad, the stuff that was said about her mom. I think Martha Firestone did a better job than William. That's just what I think. But Sheila, to me, she hasn't really given me a reason to start talking about sell the team or all of that stuff, because I'm going to be real with you. I don't know who's after her. I don't know. I don't know who takes over after Sheila. I mean, she's in her 70s, but I don't know who takes over. I mean, the word on the street is, I don't know how many of the 4 kids really want to deal with it. And Sheila is, she's not like her dad. Her dad used to be involved in a lot of decision making. She just like, yo, I'm going to tell me who to hire and I'll hire them. Will they get us to where we need to be? I mean, don't forget, we hired a firm to help us find Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. The same thing, I think the Falcons are doing that. They have like a consultant or something like that. So for me, I don't know who we come back. Devlin says, what about Broderick? Actually, I found out that Broderick's brother is actually eligible for the draft. His name is Prodrick Martin, and he is somebody that Brad Holmes and the scouting department are looking at. They're looking into. So, hopefully he's better than his brother, but that's another thing that, to me, yeah, you bring back Marcus Davenport, and I mean, you really could get fired for Broderick. Like, you could, because Broderick was a bust. He was a bust for what I usually don't give bust to anybody but a first round pick, but what you gave up and the hype that you had around this guy, you know. So anyway, yep, Project Martin is actually projected to be a first-round pick. And what I understand is Brad may trade up to get him. That's somebody, you know, I don't have an insider at Allen Park, but I have one in the NFL. It's in my head. So yeah, that's what I hear is that Project Martin. And actually, the crazy part about this is nobody ever talks about that, but Project is actually Broderick's twin brother. Which is crazy, bro. Insane. The stuff that you find out when you do content. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Who would you like to resign for the Detroit Lions? Who would you tell don't let the door hit you on the way out? For me, Marcus Davenport. Like, if it was up to me, I would go to Allen Park and I would stand out the gate. And as a matter of fact, I wonder if I could do this. Stand outside the gate with my Davenport shirt on, know what car he drives, and just stand there. That's and wave to him as he drives off from Allen Park. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Oh, yeah, I did have you. I had you, bro. I had you. That's why I try not to laugh during this time. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, we've been on for over an hour, man, hour and a half. So we're in overtime for sure. But in all seriousness, this is a big year for the Detroit Lions. It started today. And this is a continuation. See, what I don't want you to I want you to understand is this today is not just about today. We saw this coming. And if you go back into the archives, you can tell exactly when it started. It started drafting Broderick Martin. Correction. It started in the free agency period of 2023. But you made up for that in the draft. But Broderick, to me, was the if you could go back in the timeline, like if the Infinity Stones were real and you could go back in the timeline and you had to go stop Brad Holmes from drafting Broderick Martin, that is, or even better, you go and somehow you convince him not to draft Broderick, but then you stop him from the whole positional value arc. You stop him from that thing, because to me, those two moments is why we are where we are. Like, it's more than that, but it kind of created this monster that now has to come out of hiding. And look, this offseason has multiple off seasons of mistakes to correct. And he has 2 years of correction to do, and he only has 2 years to do it. So what I think is going to happen is I think that my honest opinion is that Dan Campbell is going to be here for a while. I could see him getting a 3-year extension. When, I don't know. But Brad, I'm not so sure. I could see Brad, his time coming to an end. And part of me feels bad because I feel like I'm picking on him. And, he a brother. Me and him brothers. Do you know that Brad Holmes is 4 months older than I am? Like, me and Brad Holmes are the same exact age, which is crazy. So, and not that him being a brother matters, but, people be like, you like to pick? No, man, it don't matter. Brother, sister, it don't matter. I mean, it don't matter. Everybody can catch it, right? It has nothing to do with it. But something got to change, y'all. Something got to change. And I think our coach, Zach Taylor is still coming back. Wow, the Bengals are dumb. Watch they wind up tagging, oh boy. That's that anyway. All right, y'all.
You know what?
Oh, yeah. The monster voice came on, man. That's probably what I needed. I'll see y'all tomorrow. That transition was sweet. It was to the beat as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we are officially in the offseason. Right after we hear Brad Holmes, I'll probably retire this track, man. I got to work on my remix in the offseason. My wife says she can't listen to this song the same. That was the whole point. So what do we find out today, man? We found out that Dan Campbell, it seems like he's had enough, man, and that I expect some conflict to be between Brad and Dan. Even if it's just a little bit of fracture, a little bit of pushback, nothing too serious, no beef, no fights, just maybe a few disagreements. But the man you see on your screen is the man that I really do think can take us all the way. I really, truly do. But this man right here, I'm not sure if he has what it takes in him. This is how he looks after 5 years as Detroit Lions general manager. And we're going to see what he got. The question I have for him is, how do you like Dos Equis? And also, what are you going to do to make this team better? I also want to bring in this shot right here. So the word on the street is Sheila listened to my track and she liked it. I understand that she likes to sing it in her car. And he got her to thinking, are we good or are we good? And who do I hold accountable for this debacle of a 2025 season? And that look right there is specifically because she heard this track. And he got her to thinking, is he really the one? I know she's looking at Dan Campbell, but she giving a side eye to Bradley Mathias that's off to her left. We're going to see what she does in the offseason. Ladies and gentlemen, we got 8 months to go before we get some Lions football again. Who's going to be part of the Detroit Lions? We're going to find out soon enough. There's one more person I want to give a shout out to before we end this show. And his picture coming up right next. And last but not least, or should I say certainly least, I want to give a special shout out to Benedict the Snake Johnson, who just couldn't beat his master. Notice I said his master because he's a snake. Shout out to ChatGTP for the photo as well, man. Look like somebody from V. That's what Ben looks like underneath his skin. He peels back his ears. I actually had the We Live glasses, and that's how I was able to get this screenshot, man. And then I told ChatGTP to do what it do, and it did what it did. We're going to see them get eliminated in a few weeks, man. Matter of fact, next weekend. With that being said, man, I want everybody to enjoy the rest of their day. Lions football is over. No more stress, no more pain. We get to live our life, man. And we'll see what Mathias got planned on Thursday. But until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow and Wednesday for sure. Have a great day and take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.